Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. Today I'm going to show you how to make $12,000 a year in dividends. But before I do, what are dividend stocks for people who are new to the channel? First, if you are watching this, you probably know what a stock is, but this could be your very first investing video ever. So I'm going to explain everything in less than, let's say, 2 minutes. You can go ahead and start the clock. All right, a stock is a portion of a company. Okay, we call them shares. It's a small slice of the company that says that you own a piece of that business. If that business does well, let's say Apple in this case, they sell more iPhones, people subscribe to Apple TV Plus and all that kind of stuff, the value of those shares rise. So say if I buy it for 100, a year from now it's 120. I get to sell it if I choose to and make money that way. That's how most people make money through the stock market. However, some companies say, look, because you are a shareholder, instead of just holding on to this money and investing it back in the business, I'm going to give it to you, the shareholder, and that is called a dividend. For example, and we'll talk more about Apple, Apple pays 93 cents for every one share that you own. So if I own one share of Apple, at some point during the year, they're going to give me 93 cents. It's usually going to be broken out into 4 payments, aka quarterly payments. So the more shares of Apple that I own, the more money I can get in dividends. And the great thing about dividends is I don't have to do anything. All I got to do is just buy the stock, and they make the iPhones, they do all the strategy, they do all the marketing, all that kind of stuff. I just sit back and get my check, which is great. However, you need to know the reality of dividend stocks. How much do you actually need to make $12,000 a year? And obviously, if you break that out, that's about $1,000 per month. Because what I've seen for doing this for 13 years, even as a financial advisor, some people sit down and think, hey, if I just put in $1,000, if I just invest $100, I'm going to be rich just by dividends alone. And it is possible. I've had clients in the past who have done it, but they've got a lot of zeros in those accounts. So I just want to give you a little bit of context, show you how to calculate this, which we have talked about before, and just give you the lay of the land on how this works. All right, here we go. So we're gonna start off with Apple. Apple is not what I would consider the best dividend stock in the world. They're not really known for paying dividends, even though they do, but I just want to give you context here because tech companies usually, but not all the time, usually don't pay a whole lot in dividends. So you're gonna see why that it's going to cost you way more to get better dividends in Apple than it is a more traditional manufacturing company or something of that nature. So let's go ahead and start. So if you want $12,000 a year in dividends from a company like Apple, as of today, based on what they're paying and everything, they're paying right around 93 cents per share. If you ever want to know how much a stock pays in dividends, or if a stock pays dividend at all, you can type in the ticker symbol of the stock and it's going to show you, I'll highlight it here on the screen, you'll see exactly how much they have paid in the past. If that number is blank, they're probably not paying a dividend, okay? Super simple. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. So again, if you want $12,000 a year in Apple, you are going to need to invest $2,260,129. Basically, $2.26 million just for you to get $12,000 passive income in dividends. That's a lot of money. Okay, it's unrealistic for most people. That doesn't mean that you can't invest in Apple. If you ask me, I think the value of investing in Apple is the growth of the shares and not necessarily the dividends. But this is what tech companies do. Most tech companies, if they pay any dividends at all, it is usually pretty low because they want to take that money and go invest in the next big thing. Apple is trying to figure out how to create the metaverse. They're releasing a headset here pretty soon. It's supposed to be like $3,000. We'll talk about that if and when it comes out. They're supposedly supposed to release an Apple car. They need that dividend money so they can go and make that stuff. Also, they're trying to do share buybacks and buy back their own shares. Topic for another day, but y'all get the point. All right, the next one here, and really the rest of this list is going to be more focused on dividends. So you're not going to see another $2 million number, but they may or may not be significant. The next one here is AbbVie. I have talked about AbbVie a lot as a healthcare company. I would say really over the last maybe 2 years now about why I like the company and all that kind of stuff. One of the most popular dividend stocks out there. They are paying $5.78 for every one share, which is pretty hefty. If you want to make $12,000 a year, you would need to invest $301,266. $300,000. That is a decent sized house for you to get $12,000 in passive income. Now remember, again, you got the dividend income, which you can also reinvest and make even more money, but also it is the value of the shares rising as well. So there are two ways for you to make money, but if you're just doing this for dividends, $300,000 is what you would need to invest in a company like AbbVie to get $12,000 a year, aka $1,000 per month. The next one here, super familiar, very popular for dividends, and that is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, you would need $423,573 to make $12,000 a year in dividends. The reason why Coca-Cola is popular, you understand it, everybody understands it. It is one of Warren Buffett's most famous holdings. Next here is Lowe's. That stock symbol is LOW. You would need $522,866 to make $12,000 in dividends. Lowe's is one of the companies that are called the dividend aristocrats that have paid dividends for well over 20 years consecutively. And let me correct myself, it is 20 consecutive years, 20 or more consecutive years of increasing dividends, which means that every year for the past 20 plus years, Lowe's has increased their dividend. That is impressive. That is great if you're somebody who is a dividend investor. And obviously you don't have to shoot for $12,000 a year, which is great. But you can start somewhere and start to build up. But if you want $12,000 a year in dividends from Lowe's, you're going to need that $522,000+. Next here is one of my companies that, one of the companies that I talked a lot about last year, which is still doing well, and that is Genuine Parts Company, GPC. It is up more than 20% over last year. I'm still holding O'Reilly's. Some of y'all still holding GPC. Congrats on y'all. It is one of the better dividend stocks out there. There's also paid a dividend for well over, an increase in dividend rather, for well over 20 years. You want to make $12,000 in that company? You need to invest $571,457. $500,000 plus is what you would need to sum that up. The next one here is probably, actually it's the cheapest one on the list. Okay, so if you think that $2,000, $3,000, $400,000 is expensive, and it is. Here is one that is a little bit of a discount, and it is a tech company, surprisingly, one that we have covered here on the channel before. That is IBM. If you are reading The Intelligent Investor, you will know that IBM is mentioned dozens of times as well, and that company is still with us. I do own a few shares of IBM. If you want $12,000 in IBM dividends every single year, I'm going to put that in asterisks because dividends can change. Some companies can cut their dividend, but again, IBM is doing it well over 20 years consecutively. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably like 30 or 35 years. But in either case, if you want $12,000 in dividends, then you would need to invest $231,032. 231032. That is what you would need in IBM. Now, the last one here is an ETF, because I had someone ask a question about ETFs. ETFs are exchange traded funds. For those that may not know, those are collections of stocks all together. So instead of me buying Genuine Parts Company and Lowe's and IBM and Coca-Cola, I could own this particular ETF, and it's going to have all this stuff wrapped into one, so I don't have to go out and chase each individual company. Now, this is perhaps one of the most popular ETFs out there for dividends. This is SCHD. It is the Charles Schwab Dividend Equity ETF. Again, I don't currently own it, but it's one of the most popular ones that you can find out there. And they invest, I believe, in the top 100 companies that pay, obviously, a pretty solid dividend. Now, within this, if you're looking to make $12,000 per year, this dividend, they pay a dividend of $2.64 per share. And if you want $12,000, you're going to need $320,856. $320,000 plus is what you're going to need there. Now the question is, which one of these should you invest in, or is the best for you to invest in? Depends on what you're looking for. If you are looking for solid dividends and not a whole bunch of research, meaning I need to research Coca-Cola and figure out what they do, we all know. If I need to sit here and understand Lowe's and GPC and IBM and what their businesses do and all that kind of stuff, I can just go for the ETF. Okay, if you are somebody who's really focused on dividends and that's all you want to do is invest in something that's solid and it's going to basically generate dividends, and I can't say with a guarantee, but with a high likelihood, go with the ETF. That's going to be the best thing for you. If you're somebody that wants both the dividends plus the potential for growth, then for me, GPC is probably the best one on the list that I gave you. Now, if you're looking for other dividend stocks that are doing well, I have one inside the members only that we did a few weeks ago, actually about 8 or 9 weeks ago. So you want to go back and check that out if you haven't already. The link to join our members only is right here. All right, that's what you need to know for today's video. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comments below. All right, that's it for me. Talk to you later.